Hey, have you ever delved into some of the cover songs that Deuce did? Deuce has done well, not covers, but more like remixes. He did a remix to "Ambitious as a Rider," this Tupac song. He did a remix to "Patiently Waiting," but it's called "Break Them Walls." He did a what else? He did a remix to Jay Z and Beyonce song. I forgot what it's called, but his version is called "Here in L.A." Let me know if you checked out his remixes because it's pretty interesting.
Deuce didn't really try to obliterate his verse. He just kind of went with it and just talked where he was coming from. I kind of liked his angle on that song. Uh, yeah, most people when they rap on that, they kind of try to get like real lyrical and stuff. But I like it was just kind of, you know, just vibing with it. But I didn't know who GML is. Do you happen to know who they are? I heard it said like some GML member. I think Truth and Snipe, something like that. Those guys might have been that, but I don't know. GML.
I don't know who Snipe is or Snipe, but I know who Truth is. He's part of that group Deuce had for a minute called Nine Lives. I think that group had him, Truth, Gadget, and like his sister and stuff. Deuce's sister does some music. But yeah, I thought that was a good remix. It was like you said, he didn't try to be too lyrical. And I thought it was an interesting take on that song with him, Truth, and Snipe. So yeah, I agree. I thought Ambitious Said Right About Deuce is a good remix. It's definitely a good version of that song. He also did a remix of "You Don't Know," but it's mainly the Truth rapping on it. It's like a Truth song. The rapper Truth, he does a remix of "You Don't Know," and Deuce is only on the hook. I can send you another one he did if you want.
How's it going, YouTube? This is Acid Roots. I'm going to review Deuce's Call Me Big Deuce EP, or mixtape. So basically, Deuce was trying to put together a solo career after having problems with Hollywood Undead, and he basically managed to put out an album and a half with Hollywood Undead, which was Swan Songs and then the live album Desperate Measures. Now, I reviewed both of those, so you can find those if you want more history on some of the good songs. But after that, basically around the time when Desperate Measures came out, Deuce got kicked out of Hollywood Undead, and this project has a diss song towards Hollywood Undead, which is good. It's called Story of a Snitch, which has B.O.B.'s Airplanes as the beat. But the main thing is that this is basically Deuce's breakout project, which has a good handful of instrumentals where he just kind of raps over them like Lil Wayne and people like that. But then he also has some original stuff. In some cases, it's kind of rock tinged stuff like he does on Nine Lives, but in other cases, it just is underground and kind of that sort of hip hop, which he's good at. I mean, that's kind of the angle with Deuce. I felt like Eminem tried to do that style that Deuce was doing on Revival, but Deuce is pretty good at it. I mean, he can do underground hip hop and he does club joints and he seems like a very festive individual most of the time. So just the multitude of angles, he's a decent freestyler. I don't know if I mean, most of the time people freestyle on other people's instrumentals on mixtapes. I don't know if Deuce did it, but it's something that he's decent at when he does these to other people's songs. Some of the ones like "Patiently Waiting" by 50 Cent, "Airplanes" by B.O.B., uh, the New York. I forget the name of the song, but it's from Jay Z's Blueprint 3 with Alicia Keys on there. "Empire State of Mind," uh, "Ambitions as a Writer" by Tupac, and then he even snagged a couple Hollywood Undead songs. That's just kind of the situation. But another thing that Deuce is a pretty good pro at is doing hooks. That's an extra thing. He's kind of like Drake, except he just has more of like a rock type feel to it, and he has more energetic and kind of gets you excited kind of feel when he does his hooks. That's definitely a strong suit for Deuce, and it's one of the best things that he pulls off most of the time. So that's kind of the things that obviously, if you can't tell, I'm going to give this mixtape a high score. It's basically going to get a 10, but there's so many valid points to it, and it's fun basically the whole way through. So it results in a lot of stellar stuff. And also, Truth is on here, which is part of Deuce's Nine Lives group. Sometimes Truth takes up the most of the song compared to Deuce. Like there's a song called You Don't Know where Deuce is only on the hook and he basically just says I on there. And then like Blood on My Hands, Deuce is only on the hook. And songs like that, or Deuce will be on the third verse. So Truth is on here. I think he was trying to get him as next in line to be the one that was going to drop albums after Deuce. I don't know what happened, but still, Truth can rap. In some cases, I think Truth can rap better than Deuce. That's a highlight to him, and his credit is being able to say that the guy that Deuce is trying to put on is, stellar. So considering that this is a mixtape and Deuce was just trying to get started and kind of find himself, I don't necessarily know what the singles were. There is original material, but I don't know what would have gotten the music video promotion because Deuce, looking him up on Wikipedia, it's not, he doesn't have overt amounts of profile on him. So, but yeah, so basically, I like this whole project minus the song Here in LA, the Jay-Z song, and then the song Franny. So, I mean, Deuce is capable of doing like pop rock, and I felt like Franny was kind of in that territory. Circles kind of is too, but it pulls it off better, has more interesting production on there. So that's kind of the thing. And Deuce has the ability to do kind of like makeshift work music, but he doesn't do it very much. So that's why this album still gets a 10. So me liking 12 out of 14 is extremely stellar, especially for a free mixtape, even though a good portion of these songs are instrumentals, but they're good ones. That's kind of the situations. Like Ambitions as a Rida, like I said at the beginning of this video, I didn't feel like Deuce was like an above par lyricist, but he kept his verse interesting. I mean, it's not like he's above par, but just there's people like Lil Wayne and uh, like J. Cole and those type people who could probably just do like flatten him in verses and that sort of thing. But this is kind of the situation, but he does a good job. I mean, he keeps it interesting. It's more basic, and I like his coverage. He even added a good hook on that song, and Truth did a stellar job rapping on that song. So it's just that's kind of the thing there. I liked his twist on Empire State of Mind. He changed it from a New York song to a Los Angeles song. But I don't know. The reason why I didn't like that song was because I felt like that production is too much New York. It just felt like that's an anthem for New York. To try to reverse it and make it an anthem for California or the West Coast didn't quite work as well. That just feels like an East Coast song. I mean, it's too much. Jay-Z did too good of a job on that song. And Story of a Snitch was good. I really liked the hook on that one. It wasn't like mirroring like the airplanes hook off of uh, B.O.B.'s record. So he just completely originally did that. So it's basically a song that you may not even know was not Deuce's, depending upon how you found it. So it's good. You Don't Know was good just because Truth was going in overkill on that. Deuce was barely on that song, but it was still a good one. And then to talk about some of the original songs, like I really like Blood on My Hands. I felt like that showcased Truth real well. Who We Are didn't have, that was another song that didn't have Deuce on there at all, but I like the production on that one. Sometimes was a good rock song, and so was Breaking Through. Those were two of my favorite rock oriented songs, just to prove that Deuce can do rap, he can do rock, he can do pop. So he's pretty multifaceted. And Circles was another good song, even though that was Hollywood Undead's song first. I felt like that might as well be a Deuce song because he was in the group when they did that. So there's just all sorts of stuff to talk about. And then another one I liked was Set It Off. So he has club songs, he has rock songs, he has underground songs, basically the whole shebang. So it results in basically another classic mixtape that I've found just within the past few days. So I do recommend it. The social score is difficult, but if you're like Jackal Gold Kick and I and you found this through more so the remixes or the instrumental songs that he did first, then obviously, that's just kind of the thing. I mean, Tupac. I mean, how many people have done Ambitions as a Rida? So it's like, that's kind of is good. I'm glad that this made it to an official. This is an official project. So I saw online that he released this through a loophole that said he could be a solo artist as long as it was just on other people's stuff. I don't know how the new stuff got on there, but I'm not complaining because it's good. So a lot of this is MP3 player bound and car bound and that sort of stuff is just that good. So the mixtape gets a 10 out of 10, and I'm extremely proud of it and impressed by it.